Hey, Happy Friday. I'm back from Arizona visiting an Intel factory, but the only thing I can tell you about it for now is that I apparently managed to break my glasses. Oops. Anyway, this week Intel is reportedly in talks with AMD to start making processors for them. Apple is reportedly in talks for shelving their Vision Pro headset, and Microsoft starts talking about vibe working. Welcome to the Friday Checkout. This video was sponsored by Nebula. Okay, for my first story of the week, Semaphore reports that Intel is in early talks to add AMD as a foundry customer. This means that Intel would potentially start manufacturing chips for its most direct rival, AMD. Semaphore says that the deal is not set in stone just yet, but it follows Nvidia investing in Intel, SoftBank doing the same, and Apple reportedly being in talks for some kind of deal as well. I made a whole video predicting that this exact thing would happen. That video is called How Trump Will Force Intel to Win. You can watch that over here, but the calculus is pretty simple. Trump's government is now the largest shareholder of Intel and has explicitly said that he will use his power to boost Intel's business. So the easiest way for other chip firms to get on his good books and to avoid punishments and tariffs is now, obviously, to cut some kind of a deal with Intel, and so that's exactly what they're doing. Now, I'm guessing that AMD would not be using the fabs that I was shown in Arizona just this week, but likely the next generation ones for Intel 14A, which are supposed to be the first ones that should attract external customers as far as I understand from the news. Let's see how that goes. Okay, and for my second story of the week, Bloomberg reports that Apple has apparently shelved their Vision headset revamp to prioritize Meta-like AI glasses. If you hadn't heard yet, they were planning to bring out a significantly revamped, cheaper and lighter variant of their headset, kind of like the Vision Air, by 2027, but that has apparently been parked for now. Instead, they have one pair of glasses without a display planned for 2027 and another pair with a display for 2028, though now both look like they might get accelerated. Obviously, anything can happen with timelines this long, but this change makes a lot of sense. Zuckerberg also essentially told his team that is working on the Meta Quest not long ago that he either wants them to have a big bang of a success or that they'll essentially get axed, and all indicators are that none of the bigger headsets are gaining any momentum despite decades of work. Meanwhile, smart glasses are blowing up, and Counterpoint says that they grew by 110% in the first half of this year, for example. I've also already met like a dozen people or so who use Meta's Ray-Bans and similar glasses regularly, and that is just not a thing that you could ever have said about VR. I think Apple is extremely well set up to make glasses, A, because they can obviously tie them into their existing ecosystem with the iPhone and all, but also because this is supposed to be fashion. You know, in my case, not exactly, but usually this is supposed to be fashion, and I think people will really want to have an Apple-branded product on their face. While Gurman didn't say that the Vision Pro would be shelved forever, I think a company the size of Apple could easily afford to work on two products in parallel if they really believed in some momentum, so the fact that they're not doing that shows me that they're slowly going to deprioritize the Vision Pro. And meanwhile, I'd also be surprised if Samsung and Google didn't decide to deprioritize their Project Muhan headset that is supposed to launch soon, and if they didn't end up going more all in on the glasses instead. I think it's clear that this is the race that everyone has to win first. Okay, and for my third story of the week, Microsoft has officially announced vibe working. I promise you, you're not hallucinating. This is just the world's premier enterprise software company being a little quirky, you know, like they're hanging with the cool kids. So if vibe coding is asking an AI agent to just program a whole app from scratch with no real human input, then vibe working should be that, but just for generating complex Office documents instead. Agents in Copilot and also inside Word, PowerPoint, and Excel should just make the documents and let you iterate on them using just your speech. And if you're like, wait a second, wasn't that like the promise of Copilot in the first place? Then yes, but now it's supposed to be working because it's also agentic. Magic. Anyway, all of my friends who are working in corporations are telling me the exact same thing, which is that everyone wants to generate things with AI, but nobody wants to actually read the hundreds of new pages generated with somebody else's AI anymore. And so this is just gonna create a whole lot of mess, and I'm very happy that I don't have to deal with it. But hey, at least the Office apps also got a brand new set of cute little icons, making them look a little bit more playful. I think these actually look pretty nice. Okay, and moving on to a release monitor, Google and Amazon have both announced way too many security cameras, doorbells, and smart speakers, both with and without screens for me to list. Most of these now support Google Gemini or Amazon's AI-powered Alexa Plus assistant if you're into that sort of stuff, and most should also have improved sound quality over their predecessors. Meanwhile, kind of interesting is that Amazon also has a new Fire Stick, which now runs Vega OS. This is a custom Linux build from Amazon that is supposedly going to help them with performance. And also worth noting were Amazon's 3 new Kindle Scribe tablets. They include much more modern-looking designs with thinner bezels, and one unit even has a color e-ink screen. Could be good for those who like to scribble on e-ink. And meanwhile, talking of ink, something called the Open Printer launched with a fully open source design and software. You don't need special ink or subscriptions, and the paper apparently gets added in a roll that the machine then cuts. It does look pretty damn cool, and it's designed by a team in Paris, but it's sadly only a Kickstarter project for now. And then also on Kickstarter now is Keychron's new keyboard made mostly of ceramics. Sounds pretty fancy, and it also looks really pretty, and it starts at $230. And then in somewhat related news, Aura has also released new ceramic edition rings, which are the company's first to feature something other than a metallic finish. Actually, it looks pretty cool too, plus there's also a new $99 charging case. And last in our release monitor, I also got to try Logitech's new MX Master 4. This is the successor to their flagship productivity mouse that I've been using daily for the last 5 or 10 years by now, and I unsurprisingly really liked it. It costs $120 and it has a new haptic engine, meaning that it can actually vibrate kind of like your phone. Getting haptic feedback when things, for example, snap into place in Photoshop is something that I didn't know I wanted, but it's surprisingly satisfying. It also works with Logitech's new Action Ring that allows you to program up to 72 virtual shortcuts to your mouse. Nice. As usual, I've left links to all the newly announced products in the description, and now let's move on to the brief. We start with Microsoft raising Xbox Game Pass prices up to $30 on the high-end tier. That is an incredible 50% price hike, even if it does come with a few upgrades like better quality 1440p streaming and also access to more titles. Next, Daniel from Zone of Tech had his Galaxy Ring battery inflate on his finger, causing it to get stuck. Yikes. Samsung reviewed the unit and called it an extremely rare accident, and indeed it is the first one that we've seen with the issue out of millions of devices sold, so hopefully it's not something to worry about just yet. Daniel apparently also took his ring into salt water, and that is generally not advisable for anything with consumer electronics in it. If you do it, please at least rinse it afterwards thoroughly in regular fresh water. But yeah, a battery-related incident is not something that Samsung wants given their history. Meanwhile, good news for Samsung is that the Fold 7 finally seems to be a successful product. Sales are up a massive 50%, at least in the US according to the company, which is a big jump after many years of stagnation. Turns out if they actually make meaningful changes, people might upgrade. Who would have thought? And talking of foldables, Samsung Display has now also officially confirmed plans to make foldable displays for a quote major American company. Well, guess who that could be? This is our first official confirmation from a parts supplier that the foldable iPhone is indeed probably coming next year. That's what we're guessing so far. And then moving on to news that will surprise no one, we learned that Meta will use AI chats to personalize content and ads starting from December. Your sensitive personal data being used for ads? Gasp! And then also this week, Trump got $24.5 million paid out by YouTube as part of a settlement. He sued the platform for suspending his account after the January 6th attacks, and Alphabet decided to just cave and pay him to get in his good books instead of actually fighting the case. This follows Meta settling a bit earlier and also Elon Musk's X doing the same, despite, reminder, Trump having been successfully impeached by the US government itself over inciting an insurrection already. But instead, all the big social media platforms have just decided to pay the president anyway. Cool. And talking of cool, the video generation tool of OpenAI got a big upgrade in the form of Sora 2 and also an iOS app that lets users watch generated videos in a kind of TikTok-like feed and also to generate and remix them, including to deepfake themselves and their friends into them. I tried downloading the app with my phone while I was in the US, but apparently you also need an invite code, so I couldn't actually do it. Anyway, apparently the people that have tried say that the videos are now good enough to fool you, including the deepfakes. Which is great because a believable, ultra easy to use deepfake machine is definitely going to make the world a better place. Hey, actually, in retrospect, it really seems like it was a great idea for a bunch of us creators to come together and build a platform for ourselves. A platform where there's no low-effort AI slop spreading fake news and also where there's no sleazy billionaires or private equity funds squeezing everything for profit. That platform, of course, is Nebula, and I'm honestly finding it the most sane way to enjoy the internet these days. Just smart videos made by real humans who actually care, including loads of exclusive content that you can only watch over there. For example, at the end of every Friday Checkout episode, I answer a listener question instead of an ad read, and this week I got this one. What does moving chip manufacturing from Taiwan to the US mean? Is it possible? How difficult could it be? What would it mean for prices? I love answering questions like these, and I can get a little bit more in detail over on Nebula. Meanwhile, Nebula is also full of extra videos and even big budget Nebula originals like 17 Pages, Red Atoms, and we've also recently announced Dinner Plan, an upcoming straight up prestige movie that we're producing. Less crap and more high quality stuff is our pitch, and your support helps us make that happen. Best of all, with my link go.nebula.tv/TFC, which is also linked in the description, you can also get a big discount. With my link, Nebula costs just $36 for a full year instead of the $60 that you'd pay with a regular link, plus it also lets Nebula know that I sent you, which directly supports me. Oh, and if you hate ongoing subscriptions, we even have a lifetime offer. With a regular link, that'll be $500, but my link brings that down to $300 as well. So check out go.nebula.tv/TFC or scan the QR code, and I'll see you over there. Bye.